Hi, I'm Danny,
I'm Sam.
and this is
Business in a Brew. We'll be poring over business stories,
and talking about things that interest us in the world of business.
so we'd like you to just take a few minutes out, listen.
Yeah, we'd love it if you join our conversation with us. Hello.
Hi. What delights have you got today then?
I've got... I keep calling it BA versus VA, which is British Airways versus Virgin Atlantic.
Okay.
For some bizarre reason, I'm going to call BA throughout it, but I'm going to call Virgin Airways... Was it Virgin Atlantic? Anyway, I'm going to call them Virgin.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the Dirty Tricks scandal from the 1990s.
Right. Dirty tricks.
Dirty tricks.
Meaning?
Well, things that they did that were very unethical.
Okay, fine.
So I'm at a slight disadvantage because I can't remember anything before I was 18, so the 1990s is a bit blank, but you might remember some of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a very well publicised thing between BA and VA.
Mm-hmm.
And it was essentially British Airways' efforts to undermine Virgin.
Right, as a start-up.
Yeah, because
airline.
for years, BA were just the name
The
in
monopoly.
high-quality international flights, whatever you want to call them, and Virgin were the newcomers.
Mm.
And pretty much until 1990, BA just ignored Virgin completely. But then Virgin did two things that made them a threat. Virgin did one of them, the other one they didn't really do. But the first one is they used their planes to rescue British citizens during the Iraqi invasion of Kuwait. Awful of them, terrible.
Mm-hmm.
BA were like, oh my God, they're good people, we need to do something. The other one was...
Yeah, look at all the PR they're getting.
Well, quite, yeah. You could have done it yourself, BA, but you chose not to. The other thing was that they started being awarded landing slots at Heathrow in direct competition with BA.
Right.
So obviously I don't know whether they'd had a good conversation with Heathrow or...
Or maybe just their humanitarian efforts,
maybe.
actually. And
Or maybe they offered more money. Who knows? It's a mystery. But either way, they were suddenly a threat to BA. And the chairman at the time was a guy called Lord King, which I think is the best name ever. Lord King. He decided that rather than, improve their service offering or compete fairly, that they were going to wage a secret war on Virgin.
Right.
To undermine them. And there were so many examples. And this is just a few of the examples I pulled out.
Do you know, I do have vague recollection of something, but memories are so short on this stuff. You know, that it moves on, and you know that Virgin is a fairly decent company.
Yeah.
And it always had Richard Branson behind it. He always seemed like a fairly decent kind of guy.
Pretty involved, seemed on it, yeah.
But you kind of, you know that you like Virgin, and it's because of
really know
knowing the history that you've forgotten about.
And it's quite funny because we both work in competitive landscapes. Both our businesses operate in competitive landscapes. You don't see a competitor and go, I'm going to go and turn their power off, or I don't know, throw their laptops in the Trent. I don't know. You don't do any of that stuff. But for some bizarre reason, Lord King felt these tactics were a good idea. So you had...
I don't care how you do it, just go and do it.
Honestly. So BA staff members were impersonating Virgin employees. They were calling their customers, lying that their flights had been cancelled, and encouraging them to fly BA instead. Could you imagine that?
Really?
Can you imagine getting a phone call from someone going, hi, yeah, I work for Virgin. We're not flying anymore to Timbuktu. So what I'd suggest is you just give BA a call and book with them. That's the worst kind of scam. Who believes that?
Wow.
I know. Awful.
That's so primitive.
Yeah, but it was 1990. It wasn't really a digital age then, was it? So you couldn't go online and look at your booking, but...
You couldn't, but that's just such a primitive...
It is. And
like sledgehammer
so childish. It's so childish. They hacked into the Virgin systems to collect all the customer information.
So hacking. Because that's a fairly modern phenomenon. We think it is, but actually it's not.
It's not, no. They when flights were delayed, they approached Virgin passengers in the airport and incentivised them to switch by offering upgrades. They literally just wandered around going, hi, your flight's been delayed. Do you fancy first class on BA? I know.
My goodness.
Absolutely disgraceful. They spread false stories in the media. So one example was they spread a story that Virgin had been denied their latest Shell fuel credit. Essentially, they've got no money, don't trust them, they're going to go bust, your flight will be cancelled, which they were being told anyway.
Good, right.
And they used private investigators to find out all sorts of...
Digging the dirt.
Pretty much.
Or what, on the executives?
Yeah, pretty much on all of it. They were just absolutely horrendous. And this went on for a while. And Branson was tipped off by a BA insider. Fair play to that person. You've got some backbone to do that. To go to Richard Branson and go, hi, so all this stuff that's happening, it's us.
Wow.
Awful. Yeah.
So a whistleblower within BA.
Yeah, and they're my hero. I don't know who they are, but they're my hero. So Branson complained to the European Commission. And in March 1992, Virgin sued BA for libel. Because there's only so much of it you can prove. It's quite hard to prove the whole walking around the airport, offering upgrades if you switch. BA, in their infinite wisdom, countersued, saying that Virgin's claims were baseless. A lot of litigation going on there. And I mean, there is an argument saying that there's too much litigation and people are too prone to suing. I think Virgin had a case. I'm not entirely positive BA had a case. That's basically he should. You made that up. I'm going to sue you because you made that up, which they didn't. In the end, the case was actually settled 1 month before it was due to go to court.
Right.
Yeah, funny that. Yeah, which was in January 1993. So after 2 years of this kind of stuff, 2 years.
Oh, that's incredible. Wow.
And the settlement was $945,000 in damages, paid legal costs, but it also had to include an apology from Lord King to Branson.
Really?
Yeah. Now that's humiliating, isn't it?
Really?
Yeah. That's like when your child's the bully and you have to drag them back into school and go, right, you apologise to this person.
Yeah.
Like, that's just embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. Oh my God. Yeah, but I can't wait to hear the next bit, but I'm just thinking, how long did Lord King stay as CEO of...
Do you know, I didn't look that up, and I wish I had now you've said that.
That's remiss of you.
I know.
Because I'm sure everyone that's listening to this is going to want to know, and they're probably going to go off and look.
You can go and Google. You're all quite capable of Googling. Well, that's fine. You do that. Google and post it in the comments, then we'll all know, won't we? But yeah, it just fascinated me that BA were like, no, we didn't do that. No, we're going to sue you because you're lying. Yeah. And then a month before the case went, yeah, I mean, all right, we did. Yeah, sorry about that.
So do we know anything about what he said?
No, he literally did just apologise. He said, I'm really sorry that we used such underhand tactics.
I'm sorry. Say it. Sorry. Say it properly.
Yes. So, I mean, and poor Branson. I don't know why I feel so sorry for Branson. I've never investigated him. He might be a horrible human being, but he seems to be quite nice. But he claimed that to fight the case, he had to sell his record label at a bargain basement price of $1 billion.
Wow.
That was his personal... He had to give up his...
So, baby. Yeah. Because that's what he was known for. That is where he made his money.
It is. Today-ish. So the latest turnover figures from Virgin are 3.1 billion annually. BA, 14.3 billion UK. So in US dollars, to compare, it's about 17 billion.
Right.
So they may have done all of this stuff, but yet again, it doesn't have the long-term impact.
No, because the short-term memory span.
Yeah. We're just like, oh, that's really bad. You probably shouldn't do that. Oh, but that's a really good flight price.
Yes, quite. Oh, look at where they're flying to now.
Yeah.
I've got a friend who only flies BA. Only flies BA.
Why?
Because he gets the club, he gets the lounge, he gets the points, he gets all sorts of benefits.
So he'd still do that if it was twice as expensive.
Constantly. I think something to dissuade him would have to be something pretty severe. Yeah, probably like that. But actually, I don't think that would dissuade
Well, I think
him.
these turnover figures, you're talking, I don't do 3s into 17, 3, 6, 9, 12, 8, about 5 times the turnover that BA has of Virgin.
Yeah. I'm sure they're just a little fly that they swat away. And that's probably the best way that they could have handled it.
I mean, they couldn't see forward to 2024. But look at the difference in the size of the companies. The sheer overreaction to someone using your landing spaces at Heathrow.
Potentially undermining your reputation and your business.
And you and I talked about this before. It's that unbelievably short-sighted view that you're like, well, we'll just get rid of the competition. It's like trying to go out and kneecap someone. It's just...
Something happened with, locally at East Midlands Airport, where British Midland were trying to swat away.
Do British Midlands still exist?
Good question. I think, I didn't come prepared for that side, but I remember British Midland bought out BMI Baby. So British Midland BM.
Do you know, for years, I thought BMI Baby on the adverts was called Beer My Baby because they said it so fast, it shoved all the letters together. So anyway, I thought it was called Beer My Baby, and it's not.
Wouldn't work for an airline.
It wouldn't, no.
But anyway,
I don't think Beer My Baby worked either.
That was their little spin-off. Obviously not spinning it off legally, but maybe they did. It's just a subsidiary, I believe. And what they did was when the likes of is it Stelios came in with EasyJet?
Yes.
A couple of the others. They then resorted to a pricing war to basically price them out. So Be My Baby became their low-cost budget airline.
Right, okay, yeah.
And that really, really proved just how infantile these corporations are. It's our space. We've always had it here. Anyone that comes in, we're just gonna play around with them until they go.
Well, that's monopolistic behaviour essentially, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It's not just one company doing it, but a group of companies could essentially go, "No, I'm sorry,
we're going to squeeze you out."
Yeah, we don't want you in here.
They could either operate together as a cartel and do it, or they could just do it independently. But
it's like, have you seen the Wonka film? They did that. The chocolate people got together and tried to get rid of Willy Wonka, but you can't get rid of Willy Wonka because he's amazing.
Oh, okay.
That's not real.
No.
But it's similar. There was a song about chocolate. There was a lot of song about chocolate, actually.
Maybe you need to do something about that. You need to tell that story in a lot more detail.
I don't think
maybe
so.
go and
it's not
interview
real. Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that. Yeah, maybe he can sing for me.
So I haven't even seen the film. Is there any long-standing kind of legacy there?
No, it just kind of went away and everyone ignores it. I think because it didn't
go
to court.
I think a lot of people don't even know.
And I think because it didn't get to court and they settled out of it, yes, there was some stuff in the paper, but you've got to be reading the paper at the right time to be aware of it.
You've got to care about it.
Yeah, there wasn't a massive circus about it on TV. There wasn't, it was the aviation industry. All people care about is a cheap flight to Benidorm.
And actually, at the time, maybe as well, it was on its ascendancy. You've got a market growth in air travel. There's this almost prediction that air travel is only ever going to become more and more popular. At the time, I remember at that time, and significantly in the late 90s into the early 2000s. Predicted growth for air travel was just exponential. It was like there was no possibility of being a fuel shortage. There was no possibility that people were ever going to climb back into buses or drive. They were only ever going to fly. Yeah, they're only ever going to fly everywhere, and that was just going to increase. But even in spite of that, knowing that your market is only ever going to expand, there's always going to be room for more people to join it.
Yeah, there's a competition. No, the other way around. Collaboration over competition. I think BA operate in a very particular space of luxury air travel, but they were very naive to think that no one else would ever enter that marketplace. Not even in this country, internationally. But it just reminded me, when you said about the growth in air travel, it reminded me that reputation can temporarily be affected, but ultimately it isn't. You think about the Hindenburg air disaster.
Yeah.
You think, who the heck wanted to get in a ship and go up in the air ever again after that? And now we're all doing it. We don't even think about it.
Yeah, but not in an airship, though.
Not in an airship, but
no.
If you don't understand engineering, you don't understand it. It's still...
the technology, yeah. But one thing I love about the airline industry, particularly love about the airline industry, is how safe that method of travel is.
Statistically,
it's safe not just because safety standards have improved and pilots have been better trained, but because every time there's an incident, it is circulated around the world after the incident has been investigated thoroughly, conclusions have been drawn, every single air crash and air accident, even if one person has just been hurt, that is circulated around the world to all airlines, all pilots, and anyone to do with the...
So it's not proprietary information, it's a sharing.
Absolutely, which means that sharing of knowledge means that is never likely to happen again, or the hope is that never happens again. Particularly technological advances have been improved. And there was a case, I'm kind of going off on a bit of a tangent here, but there was a case where in the early days of flight, I think it was in the 50s, some of the jets that were flying, the controls for the landing gear and the flaps were the same. And pilots were on the stressful aspect of coming into land. We're getting the controls mixed up.
Oh.
And there were crashes resulting from this constantly.
Yeah.
And then they looked at the situation. The air accidents were all investigated. This came up as a repeating problem. So they switched the controls. They basically made the flaps shaped like flaps and the wheel controls, the undercarriage shaped like wheels. And overnight, that completely changed the entire landscape, and air crashes were not attributed to those controls again.
That's amazing.
So just by that very simple process of eliminating a point of confusion.
See, we've completely forgotten that we don't like BA, and we've just developed some love for the aviation industry. You see, I told you, that's how quickly a scandal gets swept under the carpet.
Right. And they're gone.
We've forgotten already what we were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll happily fly with them anyway. But
will you?
Even in spite of that,
I've never flown BA.
Yeah. It's not a problem. They're all doing the same thing. They're all.
Well, I don't think they're doing quite that bad.
No, not anymore. No.
It's digital age now. They're not going to
rumbled for that now very quickly.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, that was my story.
Good one. Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening and being a part of today's episode.
If you like what you've heard, or if you feel there's something missing, or you want to ask any questions, please get in contact.
And if you love listening to us as much as we love talking to you, subscribe, download, leave us a review. All the love helps.
Thank you.